A couple of things before I ask for your help with a few charter issues. Most of us can understand there's rising costs associated with government, and we do want certain services. With that, we do expect that there may from time to time be tax increases. And when tax increases are being levied against the people, what we do not expect is at the same swift motion, we would have cuts in services. My request to this council is if we are going to approve a budget with so much as a 1 mil tax increase, then we want our 11 firefighters back immediately. Also, looking at section 11.9.906, council's action on budget. It says council shall hold a public hearing prior to the adoption of the budget. I assume that's the first hearing that we had a few months ago. Notification of the time and place of such hearing, together with a general summary of the proposed budget, shall be published in one or more newspapers of general circulation at least 2 weeks prior to the public hearing. I don't recall that happening. Both newspapers did cover the budget scandals, the tax increases, things like that, but do we have a copy of that publication that would show a summary of the budget that was published?
I have a copy of the budget summary that went into the newspapers. I don't have a copy of the newspapers itself, but I always check the newspapers to make sure that if whatever we send in publication was in fact advertised, and they were advertised.
Okay, I looked for it, I couldn't find it, that's why I'm asking.
Yep.
Okay, now on to powers and duties of the mayor. Section 2 of his clauses state that he shall inform council and the public at least once each year on the financial and general condition of the requirements of the city. In 2011, the latter half, during the election, Mrs. Herco got up here and talked about our financial shape and where we would be from the third or fourth quarter of this year, as if Karen had a crystal ball and she could see into this. The mayor pretty much called her a liar and said that's completely untrue, Karen, and belittled her. Yet she was right. We can barely meet payroll now. We're laying people off. We're asking people for payless paydays. And it's just ridiculous. The mayor lied. And as such, forfeiture of office, section 2, violates any express prohibition of this charter.
Mr. Sorick, the powers and duties of the mayor has nothing to do with the budget discussion.
It actually does, because it has to do with the financial well-being of this city, which it is second to hostess right about now.
No, sir, it does not.
We voting on the mayor's budget,
Yes, we are.
and that has nothing to do with the powers and duties of the mayor.
We're voting a proposed document.
By who, Santa Claus? My guess is it's the mayor. And Mr. Henry, just an FYI, you're the council for this city. It's your job to ensure that the charter is upheld. Thus, you should be disbarred. You have failed this city.
Mr. Sorick, I do need you to stick on
Well, again, if we're going to raise taxes, we need to reinstate our services. So far, everything is going up, and yet we're cutting services. It's ridiculous. Do we want to comment on that? Are we getting our firefighters back?
Are you finished?
Yes.
Anybody care to comment?
I was told we were getting them back. Might not be immediately, but they'll be as soon as, we get the Syntax money and some tax revenue coming in.
Mr. Sorick, we want them back as soon as possible. We want them back today if possible. We want them back.
We all agree on that. That was one of the conditions of voting on this budget, was to reinstate the 11 firemen. We didn't just lose 11 firemen, we lost 16, because 5 retired. So, you know, those 11 are valuable people to the city. I mean, we don't live in a rural area, but if one house, you see in Mountaintop, one house gets destroyed. Here in the city, you'll have 10 houses get destroyed if we, you know, take that much time to respond to a fire. vital that we get the firemen back.
I agree. And Tony, regarding your comments about the removal of the line sheets, is it?
Right.
I never understood the value of any firefighter until I watched my home. When I saw that, and I saw what the line chief does, he stood in command of the fire outside my home. As firefighters were literally walking out of my home gasping for air as their tanks ran out. And he would say to them, I am so sorry, I have to send you back in, and refill their tank and send them back in. That was a fully staffed fire department then, and that was a few years back. Today, I couldn't imagine with down 16 firefighters from where we were. So, to me, someone has to be in command of the fire.
There would be someone in command. Everybody in the fire department has the ability to command the fire. He's there. My suggestion was create captain positions and save $25,000 on salary for firemen. That's $100,000. And then they'd be able to also fight a fire. And then we'd be able to man High Street again.
Like
I want to see High Street manned.
I didn't understand what the fire department did until I watched it firsthand. And I've gotten a newfound respect for the fire department as a result.
I've always had that. I've always had that.
And, I mean, that's my only concern with the fire department. I watched 4 homes go up in smoke that night, and they couldn't contain it. And they're certainly not gonna be able to do it with current staffing. And we certainly, you know, the city understands that we do have to provide services. The mayor's talking about it all the time, that city residents expect services, and we do. The main reason that most people choose to live in the city over other communities that have far less taxes is the services that the city of Wilkes Barre provides versus that of other communities. And those are things that we use as selling features to get people to come to the city, is we have a full-time paid fire department that's there for you in the event of an emergency.
I think everybody in this room feels the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mike, just 2 comments.
Yes.
One, Frank, maybe we could predict that Syntax would be holding, or I should say, the court would be holding over $1 million of city money.
Would that solve our problems?
Part of our problem.
All of it? That million, would that solve our problems?
And, you know, if the people would pay their taxes, we may not have to lay people
If
off.
people would stop stealing gas, I mean, the list goes on and on, man.
Okay,
No, he won't let me speak. Our financial.
You just wanna blame someone else. You don't blame yourself for stealing taxes.
You want to talk to the mayor, talk to him outside.
We all know your background. You know.
Yeah, my background.
Yeah.
I've never stolen anything, Mr. Mayor, I'm not you.
Mayor,
Mike,
Mayor,
just for the
let's take
record though, the city's financial house is in shape, it's in good shape. We've had problems because of the revenue not coming in, we've been
Yeah.
very good on the expenditure side. And that's evident by our credit rating that comes out of New York, Wall Street. There's no.
That's
problem
corrupt
there.
too.
That's false.
That's a big corrupt system, credit rating.
Interest rate, 1.88%.
Do some research.
Paid over 5%. I think that's a tribute to the city council and this administration for working hard to keep the financial in order. Otherwise, we'd be paying over 5%. Our rate is lower this year.
Keep borrowing
Last year,
money.
2.22 or close to it. And then you'll see the adjustment in the budget, we say $16,000 because our financial house is lower. So I'm very proud of where we are. I'm not proud that we had to lay people out. The staffing was at 11, minimum manning at 11 on November 30th. It's at 11 today. Would we like more, Frank? Yes. But nobody wants to, you know, again, we collect 90% of our property tax. That's a pretty good collection rate. If we could collect 100%, maybe these 11 guys would have been laid off. But it's the 10% that don't pay their property tax that hurts us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.